I'm 78 years old, and this is the first time I'm saying this out loud. I didn't lose my life suddenly. I gave it away slowly, year by year, waiting for someone to tell me it was okay to live, and no one ever did. I thought if I did everything right, someone would eventually notice. If I was good enough, quiet enough, helpful enough, useful enough. I raised 3 children. I was married for 51 years. I cooked 40,000 meals. I folded laundry until my hands ached. I kept the house. I kept the peace. I kept everyone comfortable. I thought that was what it meant to be a good woman, and it was. But no one ever asked me what I wanted to be. I used to sit at the kitchen table after everyone left in the morning. The house would go quiet. The dishes done, the beds made, everything in its place. And I'd think, what do I do now? I'd pour another cup of coffee. I'd look out the window. I'd wait for the feeling to pass. And then I'd start cleaning again, because if I stopped, I didn't know who I was. I built my entire identity around being needed, and I was so good at it that I disappeared completely. I became the woman who always said yes, the woman who never complained, the woman everyone could count on, and I was proud of that, until I realized it meant I'd spent my whole life performing a role I never auditioned for. Did you spend your whole life waiting for permission to exist? My husband died 4 years ago. It was sudden, a heart attack. He was 74. We'd been talking about retirement, about traveling, about all the things we were going to do one day. And then one day never came. After the funeral, after everyone left, I sat in the living room alone. The house was so quiet, I could hear the refrigerator humming, the clock ticking, a car passing outside, and I thought, now what? For the first time in my life, no one needed me. No one was coming home for dinner. No one needed their shirt ironed. No one needed me to be anything. And instead of feeling free, I felt erased. I kept waiting for someone to tell me what to do next, what role to fill, what version of myself I was supposed to be now. But there was no one, just me, and I didn't know who that was. I'd spent 51 years being someone's wife, 30 years being someone's mother, but I'd never spent a single day being myself. I looked around that empty house and realized something that made my chest hurt. My life wasn't empty because I was alone. It was empty because I'd never taken up space in it. I'd lived my entire life in the margins, waiting. I was raised to believe that wanting things for yourself was selfish, that a good woman sacrifices, that a good mother disappears, that a good wife doesn't ask. So I didn't. I told myself later, when the kids are grown, when there's time, when things settle down. But things never settled down, and later never came. I had dreams when I was younger, small ones. I wanted to learn French. I wanted to travel. I wanted to write. But every time I thought about doing something for myself, I heard a voice in my head. Who do you think you are? That's not for women like you. You have responsibilities. And I listened. I convinced myself that I was being responsible, mature, selfless. But the truth is I was scared of being judged, scared of being too much, scared of wanting something and being told no. So I never asked. I just kept waiting for someone to notice I was tired, waiting for someone to ask what I needed, waiting for permission to want something, and no one ever did, because no one thought I needed it. I was so good at pretending I didn't need anything that everyone believed me. Even I believed me, until I couldn't anymore. And now I'm 78, and I spent 70 years waiting for permission that was never going to come, because no one was ever going to give it to me. I had to give it to myself, and I didn't know that. I thought if I waited long enough, worked hard enough, sacrificed enough, someone would finally say, "You've earned it. You can live now." But that moment never comes because you were always allowed. You just didn't know it. I had a friend named Linda. We used to have coffee every Tuesday for 20 years. Same diner, same booth, same order. She'd get a blueberry muffin, I'd get toast, and we'd sit there for an hour and talk about everything and nothing. Linda always talked about taking a painting class. She had this old easel in her garage. She'd bought it at a yard sale 15 years earlier. She'd bring it up every few months. "One day," she'd say, "when I have time, when things slow down." And I'd nod, because I understood. We both had the same excuse. We were both waiting for permission that wasn't coming. One Tuesday, she didn't show up. I called her house. No answer. Her daughter called me that afternoon. Linda had a stroke. She was in the hospital. I went to see her a few days later. She was lying in the hospital bed, half of her face slack. She couldn't speak well. Her words came out slurred and broken. But she looked at me, and I could see it in her eyes. She knew. She never took that class. She never touched that easel. She spent 15 years talking about it and 0 minutes doing it. Linda died 6 weeks later. At her funeral, her daughter mentioned the easel. She said her mom had talked about painting for 30 years. 30 years. And she never gave herself permission to start. I sat in that church, surrounded by people talking about how selfless Linda was, how much she gave, how she was always there for everyone. And all I could think was, but what about her? What about the woman who wanted to paint? What about the life she never gave herself permission to live? No one talked about that, because we don't. We celebrate women for disappearing, and we call it virtue. I sat in that church and thought, how many of us are living like that? How many of us are saving our lives for later? And how many of us are going to die with an easel in the garage? After Linda died, I made a decision. I wasn't going to wait anymore. I wasn't going to die with my life still inside me. So I started small. First, I signed up for a pottery class. I'd always wanted to try it. I'd seen it in a magazine once years ago and thought, that looks nice. But I never did it. Because I was busy. Because I didn't have time. Because it felt silly. But after Linda died, I thought, when am I going to stop being busy? So I signed up. I felt ridiculous. A 74-year-old woman sitting at a pottery wheel with 20-year-olds who looked at me like I was lost. But I went. And you know what? I loved it. I was terrible at it. My first bowl looked like a collapsed lung. But I didn't care. Because for the first time in years, I was doing something just because I wanted to. Not because someone needed me to. Not because it was responsible, just because it made me feel alive. Second, I started saying no. My daughter used to call me every time she needed babysitting. Every time, and I always said yes, even when I was tired, even when I had plans, even when I didn't want to, because that's what good mothers do, right? They're always available. One day she called. It was a Saturday. She needed me to watch the kids, and I said, not this weekend. There was a long pause. She said, "Are you okay?" Like the only reason I would say no is if I was dying. And I said, "Yes, I'm just busy." I wasn't busy. I just wanted a Saturday to myself. I wanted to sit in my living room and read a book and not be needed by anyone. And that felt like the most rebellious thing I'd ever done. My daughter was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Okay." And that was it. The world didn't end. She found another babysitter, and I spent Saturday morning drinking coffee in my pajamas, and it was the best morning I'd had in years. Third, I started asking myself what I wanted. Every morning I'd sit with my coffee and think, what do I actually want to do today? Not what I should do, not what someone else needs. What do I want? And most of the time, the answer wasn't what I thought it should be. It was small things, a walk, a book, silence, an afternoon doing absolutely nothing, but they were mine. And slowly, I started to feel like I was living in my own life instead of watching it happen around me. I started to return to myself, the version of me that existed before I learned to disappear. Here's what I know now. No one is going to give you permission to live. You will wait your whole life if you're waiting for that. You were taught to sacrifice, to shrink, to be small, to wait your turn. But your turn was always now. You just didn't know it. I didn't lose my life suddenly. I gave it away slowly, year by year, waiting for someone to tell me it was okay to live. The women who raised me couldn't give me something they never had. My mother waited her whole life too. So did her mother. We've been passing down permission slips we were never given. And the world wasn't built to care whether you lived or disappeared. It was built to use you, your time, your energy, your silence. So I had to decide. And the truth is, deciding felt like betrayal at first, like I was abandoning everyone, like I was being selfish, but I wasn't abandoning anyone. I was just finally showing up for myself. And here's the part no one tells you. When you stop waiting for permission, some people will be angry. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're not the same person. And they're right, you're not. Because the person you were was performing, and the person you are now is finally real. I'm 78 now. I don't know how much time I have left. Maybe 5 years, maybe 10, maybe less. But I'm not waiting anymore. The calendar doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't care if you're scared, if you're tired, if you still haven't figured out who you are, if you're still waiting for the right moment. It just keeps moving. Every day you wait is a day you don't get back. Every year you spend performing is a year you're not living. I wasted 70 years. 70. You might think you have time. You might think I'll start next year when things slow down, when I retire, when the kids are grown. But I'm here to tell you, things don't slow down. And one day you'll run out of time, not because you weren't good enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because you spent your whole life asking for permission you already had. Don't do that. Don't be 78 and realize you never lived. Start now, not tomorrow. Now. If this made you feel something, press the like button, not because I need the validation, but because it tells me you're listening. And maybe you needed to hear this. Maybe you've been waiting too. If you know a woman who's still waiting, your mother, your sister, your daughter, your friend, share this with her because we all need to hear it. We all need permission to stop waiting. And if you want to keep hearing the truth about what it means to grow older without regrets, subscribe. Because I'm going to keep saying the things we're not supposed to say, the things we were taught to keep quiet.